Welcome to World History TV. We're set to embark on an incredible journey through time. From ancient civilizations to modern-day events, we explore stories that have shaped our world. Our rich tapestry of human experience offers countless lessons and fascinating insights. Whether you're a history buff or simply curious about the past, you've come to the right place. Grab your passport to the past. We're delving into defining moments of our history. Together, we'll uncover the events and personalities that made today possible. Join us as we discover the moments that define us on World History TV. Section 6, World War I. The German Empire, which had enjoyed a significant period of economic growth and industrial expansion, began to face increasing political and social tensions as Europe approached World War I, 1914 to 1918. The intricate system of alliances among European powers created a precarious balance, while rampant nationalism fueled rivalries and escalated conflicts. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary in 1914 served as the immediate catalyst for the war, triggering a cascade of mobilizations and declarations of war. Germany found itself at the center of this tumultuous landscape, fighting on two fronts, against France and Russia in the west and east, respectively. As the war progressed, the initial optimism and enthusiasm for a swift victory faded, replaced by the grim realities of trench warfare and high casualties. The German military employed a strategy of unrestricted submarine warfare and made significant advances in technology, yet the war dragged on for 4 grueling years. By 1918, defeat loomed closer as resources dwindled and morale among troops and civilians alike eroded. The German people faced food shortages, and the war effort strained the economy to its breaking point. In November 1918, as the Allied forces closed in, widespread unrest and revolutionary sentiments surged through the nation, leading to the abdication of Kaiser Wilhelm II and the end of the German Empire. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, imposed harsh and punitive conditions on Germany, fundamentally reshaping the nation's future. The treaty stripped Germany of significant territories, including Alsace-Lorraine to France and large portions of its eastern lands to the newly established countries of Poland and Czechoslovakia. Moreover, it imposed strict military limitations, reducing the German army to a mere 100,000 troops and prohibiting conscription. Perhaps most burdensome were the reparations. Germany was held responsible for the war and forced to pay reparations that crippled its economy. This overwhelming burden led to the collapse of the German Empire and the establishment of the Weimar Republic, a democratic government that struggled to gain legitimacy in the eyes of the populace. However, the nation faced insurmountable challenges right from the outset. Economic hardship, marked by hyperinflation in the early 1920s, rendered the German currency virtually worthless, and the middle class saw their savings obliterated. Social unrest boiled over into political instability, with extremist factions on both the left and right seeking to capitalize on the discontent. Groups such as the Freikorps, a paramilitary organization, and the Communists engaged in violent clashes, while the rise of the Nazi Party, led by Adolf Hitler, began to gain traction amid the chaos. The political landscape was fraught with uncertainty, with numerous attempts at coalition governments that struggled to maintain control and address the dire economic conditions. The Weimar Republic, despite its progressive aspirations and cultural contributions, was mired in crises that would ultimately lead to its demise and the emergence of totalitarianism in Germany. Section 7, The Rise of the Nazis and World War II. In the aftermath of World War I, Germany faced severe economic and social challenges. The Treaty of Versailles imposed harsh penalties on the country, leading to economic instability, hyperinflation, and widespread discontent among the populace. These difficult conditions created a fertile ground for extremist political movements, including the Nazi Party, led by Adolf Hitler. Hitler, a charismatic speaker and former soldier, capitalized on the frustrations of the German people. He promised to restore national pride, revive the economy, and expand Germany's territory. In January 1933, Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. Once in power, he swiftly dismantled democratic institutions and established a totalitarian regime. The Nazis employed propaganda, state-controlled media, and violent repression to eliminate opposition and consolidate their power. The Nazi regime was founded on a dangerous ideology characterized by extreme nationalism, racism, and the belief in Aryan supremacy. This ideology not only aimed to unify the German people but also sought to expand Germany's borders at the expense of neighboring countries. Central to their policies was the systematic persecution of various minorities, particularly Jews, who were scapegoated for Germany's problems. Laws were enacted to strip Jews of their rights, leading to widespread discrimination, violence, and ultimately, the Holocaust. The onset of World War II was marked by Germany's invasion of Poland on September 1, 1939. This aggressive expansionism violated international agreements and prompted Britain and France to declare war on Germany, initiating a global conflict that would last until 1945. The war was characterized by large-scale battles, the mobilization of entire nations, and unprecedented levels of destruction. Throughout the conflict, the Nazi regime escalated its brutal policies against Jews and other marginalized groups. The Holocaust, one of the darkest chapters in human history, saw the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews, as well as millions of Romani people, disabled individuals, political dissidents, homosexuals, and others deemed undesirable by the Nazis. Concentration camps and extermination camps were established, where countless lives were lost in horrific conditions. The tide of the war began to turn against Germany with significant defeats on multiple fronts, including the Battle of Stalingrad in 1942–1943 and the Allied invasion of Normandy, D-Day, in June 1944. As Allied forces closed in, the Nazi regime faced mounting pressure. In April 1945, Soviet troops captured Berlin, and Adolf Hitler committed suicide on April 30, 1945. With the fall of Berlin, Germany surrendered unconditionally on May 7, 1945. The country was subsequently divided into two separate nations, West Germany, Federal Republic of Germany, and East Germany, German Democratic Republic, marking the beginning of a long period of division that would last until the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. The legacy of the Nazis in World War II continues to shape global politics, ethics, and human rights discussions today, serving as a reminder of the consequences of hatred, totalitarianism, and the importance of vigilance in defending democracy and human rights. Section 8: The Cold War and Reunification. The Cold War, a period of geopolitical tension between the Soviet Union and the Western Bloc led by the United States, spanned from the late 1940s to the early 1990s. Germany became a central battleground for this ideological struggle, leading to its division both physically and ideologically after World War II. The division of Germany. In 1949, Germany was split into two separate entities: West Germany, formerly known as the Federal Republic of Germany, FRG, and East Germany, known as the German Democratic Republic, GDR. West Germany developed as a prosperous democratic nation, embracing a capitalist economy that emphasized individual freedoms, civil rights, and the rule of law. Under Chancellor Konrad Adenauer, West Germany enjoyed rapid economic growth known as the Wirtschaftswunder, or economic miracle, which helped rebuild the nation and solidify its place in Western Europe. In stark contrast, East Germany was governed by a repressive communist regime led by the Socialist Unity Party, SED. The GDR was characterized by state control over the economy, limited personal freedoms, and the suppression of dissent. The government employed extensive surveillance and a secret police force, Stasi, to maintain its grip on power. This ideological chasm was vividly symbolized by the construction of the Berlin Wall in 1961. The wall not only physically divided Berlin but also became a powerful representation of the broader conflict between the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc. The reform movements and the fall of the Berlin Wall. As the 1980s progressed, a wave of reform movements swept across Eastern Europe, fueled by the desire for greater freedoms and democratic governance. Citizens of East Germany began to organize and protest against their oppressive regime, demanding changes and expressing their dissatisfaction with the status quo. These grassroots movements gained significant momentum, inspired by Mikhail Gorbachev, the Soviet leader who introduced policies of glasnost, openness, and perestroika, restructuring, in the Soviet Union. His reforms encouraged a more liberal atmosphere throughout the Eastern Bloc, emboldening citizens to seek similar changes in their own countries. On November 9, 1989, a pivotal moment in history unfolded when the Berlin Wall fell. This event marked the beginning of the end for the division between East and West Germany. The euphoric scenes of East Berliners crossing into West Berlin were broadcast around the world, symbolizing hope and the triumph of the human spirit over oppression. The wall's fall was not just a physical dismantling but also a profound moment of psychological liberation for millions. Reunification of Germany. The official reunification of Germany took place on October 3, 1990, an event celebrated with widespread enthusiasm and marked by the formal dissolution of the GDR. The reunification was not simply the merging of two governments, it represented a significant transformation of society, culture, and politics. However, the path to reunification was fraught with challenges. Despite the initial excitement, the integration of East and West Germany presented significant social and economic hurdles that persisted for years. The economic disparity between the more affluent West and the economically disadvantaged East created tensions, as policies aimed at restructuring the economy in the East often led to job losses and social unrest. Many industries in East Germany struggled to compete with their more advanced West German counterparts, leading to a wave of privatizations that resulted in widespread layoffs and business closures. Cultural differences and varying political experiences also contributed to a sense of alienation among many East Germans. The experience of living under a communist regime for several decades had shaped the identities and perspectives of East Germans in ways that sometimes clashed with those of their West German counterparts. This led to complex discussions about national identity and integration, as both sides navigated the legacies of their respective pasts. Post-reunification efforts and ongoing challenges. In the years following reunification, the German government implemented various initiatives to promote integration and address disparities between the two regions. Infrastructure improvements, investment in job creation, and educational programs were introduced to bridge the gap and facilitate the transition. The German Unity Fund was established to finance development projects in the East, and efforts were made to foster cultural exchange and understanding between the two regions. Despite these initiatives, lingering issues regarding identity and integration continued to be felt into the following decades. Debates around economic inequality, social cohesion, and national identity emerged as significant topics within German society. The legacy of division has remained a complex and nuanced aspect of contemporary discourse, as many East Germans still feel a sense of alienation and dissatisfaction. Today, Germany has emerged as a strong and unified nation within the European Union, actively engaging in discussions surrounding global issues such as migration, climate change, and international relations. The lessons learned from the Cold War era and the process of reunification have shaped Germany's approach to democracy, human rights, and cooperation on the global stage. As the nation continues to navigate its diverse identities and the legacies of its past, it remains committed to fostering unity and addressing the challenges of a rapidly changing world. Section 9: Modern Germany. In the wake of reunification in 1990, Germany faced numerous challenges as it sought to integrate the economically and socially disparate regions of East and West. The stark economic disparities between the two former nations were a significant hurdle. The German government implemented various programs aimed at improving infrastructure and stimulating economic growth in the former East Germany. These initiatives included investments in transportation, housing, and public services to bring the East up to the standards of the West. However, persistent issues such as high unemployment rates, particularly in East Germany, and social discontent continued to pose challenges for the unified nation. Germany's economic